Ah, what do you know? My mother's sketchbook. You see, my father, he married my mother later in his life, primarily because she could draw. My dad was an immigrant, but he really embodied the American dream. When he came over from Turin, he had already amassed a small fortune. He used that money to buy some land in Ohio. And by chance, he happened to buy what is now a booming property in what is known as Akron, Ohio. With the money from the sale of the land in Akron, Ohio, my father relocated south to Oklahoma to pursue his dream, building a race car track. At first it was small, just some local drivers, but he was contacted by one of the smaller circuits of racing in America, and instantly it became a fixture. By the 1970s, my father's interest in racing had expanded. At first, my papa wanted trucks to race, and so they did. But as the 1970s came to a close and the 1980s began, my father wanted to go bigger. He began by marrying my mother so that someone could put his vision on paper. When the 1980s started, he introduced van racing, but that failed to catch on. So he shut down the track and spent a year expanding it so he could really live up to his vision of semi-truck racing. The novelty was initially very appealing, and as my mother's sketches from that time period show, he was making hand over fist, dollar over dollar money. However, this was not enough for my father, who would then shut down the track for 3 more years to expand it even further. He had a new vision: airplane racing. The airplanes would not take off or fly, but instead my father wanted 20 to 30 commercial jets to taxi around the track at incredible rates of speed. At the time, my father assumed that the airlines would be more than willing to donate pilots and planes for this project. He thought they'd love the prospect of having the fastest taxiing planes around a 1-mile length track in all of the world. However, the airlines responded. Not only did they tell him that that would not be an effective advertising hook, they also said his plan was incredibly dangerous. The FAA was informed of my father's plan, and let him know that if he were to follow through with it, there would be repercussions. But some dreams, you can't stop. With the airlines shooting him down, my father sought to buy his own fleet of airplanes. So he took his life savings and he headed off to Vegas for his one shot at glory. At the roulette table, he couldn't think of a number to put the money on, and he hesitated at the idea of putting on red or black, primarily because he didn't trust colors. He walked away from the table and proceeded to blow all the money on nickel slots. Returning home, my mother informed him that she was pregnant. Believing his life was destroyed, my father set fire to his racetrack, allowing the flames, which symbolized failure, to engulf him. This screwed my mother twofold. 1, the insurance didn't cover suicide, and 2, the racetrack was so severely burned that there was no way we could sell it. But golly, what a nice sketchbook. Leather bound.